lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life is lemons, just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
It was a really difficult night last time out for the Major Series American Sportsman Division at Darlington, South Carolina in the current gen Cup cars. But here we come to a past gen car and a road race. It's going to be a full-length Italian Grand Prix here tonight to go along with the Italian Grand Prix from earlier this morning. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening here tonight. Alongside me is my broadcast partner, Dennis Diaz, for the first time on ESPN. Dennis, it's going to be an incredible race, and coming down towards the end of the season, every point is going to count from here on out.
That is correct. We have 3 races left to go, from what I believe. Points will be valuable. They need to make sure that they don't make mistakes. They have to be somewhat aggressive. They need to take these risks, or else they're just going to lose points down the line. And hopefully we have the same exciting race that we had earlier this morning with the real Italian Grand Prix.
It was an absolutely incredible race this morning, and we'll waste no time and take a look at that points battle going into this race, as it's Ozzie Milwane currently sitting atop the point standings. Now it shows that he's 5 points up. Make that actually 7 points up, because we've heard that Justin Garrick will not be participating for the remainder of the season. So it'll be Milwane, Haynes, and Halleck are really the 3 that are going to be battling for this championship, with Chris Sherburne kind of a dark horse, not quite out of it yet, but he's going to need some great performances here in the last 4 races of the season to be able to get himself into a solid championship contention.
Yeah, it's very difficult to be the outside contender of a championship, but it has been done before in many different championships and in real life with Formula One as well, with Sebastian Vettel back in 2010 claiming his first world championship while being an outside contender and winning it at the last race. So there's still a lot to play for the top 5. So we're going to see what they're going to do right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, with Justin Garrick being out for the remainder of the season, that is a big one for the guys around him. And we're going to be seeing here tonight, as we take a look through the remainder of the standings, all the guys, all 3 of them that are going to be battling for this championship are going to be starting right up towards the front, 1st, 3rd, and 5th here tonight. So they're all starting right in that same line.
Yeah, and going to the first chicane, it's very dangerous. If you make a mistake, you can have a lot of big crashes there. So hopefully they all get through very cleanly, and then they'll have a nice clean race going through. And we're going to see a lot of battles, hopefully a lot of battles between the championship contenders. And they're going to go after all the points that they need, hopefully not to take too many risks and not lose too many points. So we're going to see what they're going to do, and let's have fun and watch.
Yep, absolutely. We'll take a look now at the team championship as they stand. This is getting really close as well here. A 30-point difference between Forge Racing Sport number 1 and Sector 5 Sports coming into this high class. Going to be taking a big hit with Justin Garrick not being able to participate for the remainder of the season. Evolve SimSport Academy, all 4 of their drivers, I should say, are up in the top 7. So this could be a huge points day as far as the team championship goes for Evolve.
Yeah, I agree. They need to, as a team, they need to be as much in the front as possible. I know individually as a driver, they're going to want to be fighting each other also to win the Drivers' Championship. So who knows what their plan is. I know one of their drivers isn't in contention for the championship, so they can play a support role for the 2 that are fighting for the championship as well, helping them out, and then also helping their team out as well.
Absolutely. As we get down to the final couple minutes here of this practice session, we'll just take a look around and see who's doing what here. As I believe, let's focus on one guy. Here's the guy who's going to be carrying the torch for high-class racing here for the most part. This is going to be Jacob Mink in the 47. Now, Mink is in the base McLaren there. He had one of his high-class teammates in front of him that just spun off at Ascari. But Jacob Mink here tonight has a big advantage, I guess you could say, coming into this race. The last time we did a Formula One car in a race was back in round 3 at Long Beach in the Lotus 79. He won that race and won it fairly convincingly.
Well, if it seems like this championship deals more with how adaptable you are as a driver. So if the previous results are anything to go by, I'm pretty sure Jacob Mink is going to be quite a good contender for this race today.
And you can see just how difficult this McLaren can be to handle here tonight. Now this is the one of the older spec Formula One cars that came out. This is the V8 narrow, tall rear wing instead of the twin turbocharged V6 that we saw here this afternoon with the lower rear wing. So this car is going to handle very, very differently from what you would expect out of the current Formula One car. Top speeds are going to be a little bit lower, plus the turning capability of this car not quite on par with what we have here now.
There might be a slight correction on that description. I think these are the V6 turbo, the 1.6 liter turbos.
Okay.
Also, yes, this is the 2015 McLaren Honda-powered engine. So we know in real life they weren't that reliable, but this is iRacing, so the reliability isn't going to be too much of a factor. And yes, they do have less aero. So maybe, since a lot of people are complaining about the high downforce cars causing a lot of bad racing due to the dirty air, there should be a lot less dirty air coming out of these cars so they can follow a lot closer.
And we saw earlier on the DRS is available for these guys if they end up getting it and if they have it mapped. This is the guy that we were kind of referring to before here as a guy who has a chance to really help his teammates up towards the front. This is Spencer Todd. Now, Spencer Todd is in a very peculiar situation because he'll be starting fourth on the grid here tonight with Ozzie Milwane starting ahead of him off to the side and his teammate Joey Haynes starting behind him off to the side. So he is going to be in that spot to where, hey, I'm either racing for this win here for myself, or I could try to help my two team guys try to get up to and get around the driver who's going to be sitting on pole here tonight, which would be Brian Halleck, who is also one of the championship rivals.
Yeah, it is a difficult decision to make whether you want to be a selfish driver or you want to be a team player. Personally, for myself, if I'm not in championship contention, I will do what I can for the team. But knowing the competitive person within me, I would love to go for the win, especially if it's my first in the series. So there's going to be a lot of decision making as well as they're racing.
Spencer Todd, I believe, does have a win this season. He's just been absent from a couple races, and that's kind of knocked him out. This is another one of the Evolve team cars. This is Michael Broomhead. He is he's the last of the four Evolve drivers that will be starting in the top 7. So he will be starting in that same line as you see guys starting to practice pit entry here. So Broomhead also has a nice little role that he can play to try to maybe be a player rear gunner, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Monza is a very, very fast track, very little corners to go through. The DRS could help. Maybe the DRS chain can happen. He can hold people off. But as I said, being a team player, especially if you're not in the championship, is probably the best idea for the team itself. And yeah, he could play that rear gunner very well.
Here on screen is Brian Halleck. We've spoken about Ozzie Milwane. We've spoken about Joey Haynes. Here is another one of the guys battling for this championship, and he was a big winner last week at last time out, I should say, in the Southern 500 at Darlington. Brian Halleck was beyond any shadow of a doubt the fastest car all night long and took the win. He'll be starting on pole here for Monza, so he will definitely be looking to keep that momentum high going into the final month of races in the season.
Well, yeah, if he was very convincing in Darlington with, I'm assuming it was a NASCAR, correct?
Yep, the current Gen Cup cars.
Wow, well, if it shows that he's won in a NASCAR, in a Cup car last week or last race, and he's very quick in a Formula One car, it shows that he's a very adaptable driver. So I would expect him to keep the lead up ahead and be fighting very hard to keep that lead as well. And hopefully, if by the end of these 53 laps, if he comes out with the win, it only proves my point more that he's a very adaptable driver.
Adaptability is certainly one of the big factors going into these races. However, another factor going into tonight is going to be tire strategy. One that's synonymous with Formula One is tire strategy. A lot of these guys are going to be on the yellow softwall medium tires. As you're seeing right now, this is Nathan Medina in the 6. He is on the white hardwall hard tires. The red sidewall soft tires are also on available, or also on offer, I should say, going into tonight's race. That could play big as far as the pit strategy goes. There is no mandatory compound switch the way there is in Formula One. Some guys might go medium tonight. Some guys might go medium soft. These guys can start on whatever compound they want. Is there going to be anyone that kind of breaks away from the rest of the field and tries to do a no-stop race on the hards?
That will be a very, very difficult thing to do. The tire fall off in real life is very big, so they're gonna have to be going at a much slower pace and not scrub the tires as hard as they would like to. So even if they were to do a no-stop, I think the pace disadvantage you get from that strategy will not be a winning strategy.
So as we see, everyone except for David Gargaro Jr., who is currently in pit road, set a time on the mediums and set their fastest time of the session on the mediums as we get set to switch the session on over towards the race session here. Going to be no cautions, a standing start, same as you would expect in a Formula One race. We're going to have 53 laps here at Monza. It is going to be an incredibly fun night as we take a look at the grid for tonight's race. Brian Halleck, as we had mentioned before, sitting on the pole after pre-qualifying. Victor Aud, a series debutant, sitting with him on the front row. Ozzie Milwane and Spencer Todd will make up row number 2, with Joey Haynes and Joseph Holman in row number 3. Michael Broomhead and Robert Covey will make up row 4. Robert Deloche and Vince Harley, row 5. Maurice Camillion and Chris Sherburne, row 6. Take a look at the rest of the grid. It'll be Robert Gamble, Chris Branson, Andy Spicer, Jacob Mink, Nathan Medina, Steve Paulison, David Gargaro Jr., and Roger Shank will make up the 20 drivers that will be participating here in the Italian Grand Prix this evening. So as the cars line up, we're getting set to go racing here from Monza. 53 laps. The lights are on. We are getting set to go. Drivers are off and away. Green flag is out here at the Italian Grand Prix. A big run going into the first corner. Ozzie Milwane gets a very nice jump. Victor out on the inside line, can't quite make it work. Ozzie Milwane looking for the race lead going into turn 1, can't quite make it. Jacob Mink has gone around in the background going into turn 1. That was another big bump there as Robert Deloche, Nathan Medina, Chris Branson getting involved. There's a lot of moving and shaking happening on the first lap here, but it's going to be Ozzie Milwane jumping up a position here early to get himself up into that second position. Michael Broomhead makes it through on Vince Harley, going into the 7th position, going into the Lesmos,
Yeah, and while you were calling all that out, a car just ran off the road into Curve Grande. I don't know who it was, but they just looked like they ran straight into the wall.
I think that might have been Robert Covey towards the back there as we head into the Variante Ascari. Brian Halleck still in the lead. Ozzie Milwane not that far behind. Victor Allard right there as well. Spencer Todd, Joey Haynes rounding out the top 5. As it will be Brian Halleck who will take the first lap of this event. And speaking of the tire strategy, everybody starting this race on the medium tires except for Nathan Medina and David Gargaro as Ozzie Milwane takes a look going down into the first corner. However, Halleck blows it, room given, but the race lead will switch hands. It's Ozzie Milwane now after Halleck blows turn 1.
Well, what a great move by Ozzy. Ozzy took the advantage because Brian locked up his tires into going into the first chicane and got a good run out of the first chicane as well.
See, Lewis, it is possible to give room in turn 1 as Halleck. Oh, that's a big spin. That's Joey Haynes, one of the championship contenders, around in the second chicane.
Yeah, he's stuck there. He can't move. He can't get out of there.
Yep, he cannot. As guys are filing all over the place around him, I believe Maurice Camillion has gone around. Yep,
yes, he has.
Yep, let's take a look and see. This is going into... Oh, boy, there was a ton of things that happened there. That's Nathan Medina. Oh, Nathan Medina with a big hit. We'll go back and take a look at everything that's happened here in just a moment, but as we pick up back on live action, Ozzy Milwane up at the front. He's got a 2.5 lead on Brian Halleck.
Yeah, we got third and fourth also fighting into Ascari. I think fourth just overtook third.
Yep, Spencer Todd has gone up into the third position around Victor Out, the series debutant. And Spencer Todd now trying to work his way up into the second position. Brian Halleck maintains the spot this time. A little bit further back, we were talking about a championship outsider, Chris Sherburne, in the 135. He is up into the 9th position, +3 from where he started. Jacob Mink has recovered nicely from his little slip up at the start. He's up at P8, 8 spots up from where he started tonight.
Yeah, he's having a good run. He's about to overtake somebody else as well. Going into the first chicane, going down the inside. He's going to outbreak him. Yes, he is. Going into the first chicane.
Not sure if you're
He's going to get a good run out. Oh, yes, I am not live. My bad.
We've all done it. As he's trying to chase down Robert Gamble right now as they come out of Lesmo 2. So he's got 2 Sector 5 cars bracketing him right now, and you can see there on the back, Chris Sherburne has that DRS. That back wing is open, or was open there, going down the back straightaway into the Variante Ascari.
Well, Jacob Mink is chasing, I think that's Chris Sherburne. Yes. No.
That's Sherburne behind him. That's Gamble ahead of him.
Yeah, looks like he's going to try to get a run going out of Parabolica, going into turn 1. Let's see if he's going to go into the draft or he's going to drag race him down into the first chicane.
Looks like he's going to drag race him going into the first quarter. Not too much. Now he's going to swing into the draft. Pick himself back up.
It's going down the inside. See, he outbroke him. All right, now he's going to get good traction out. Let's see if Gamble can take... Nope. Gamble didn't have as good of an exit as Mink did.
Now he's coming under pressure from his teammate, Chris Sherburne, in the 135. And again, we spoke before, Sherburne needs all the positions that he can get now. Going into the second chicane. Can't quite get the move done. Ozzy Milwane up at the front right now with a 2-second lead over Brian Halleck. Spencer Todd and Victor Out following not that far behind. DRS open on the 2 cars behind Halleck.
Well, at least Ozzy Milwane's out of DRS range, so he can run off into the sunset for now as Brian Halleck has to deal with Spencer Todd right behind him with probably DRS is going to come up down the main straight. We're going to see if Spencer Todd can take over second place going into the first chicane.
Absolutely, and we'll take a look and see as they head out of Parabolica. Halleck doing what he can. He's gotten out to a little bit of a lead. Still not enough to get out of DRS range as the hard braking zone into the Rettifilio chicane. A little bit further back, there's Roger Shank battling with Chris Sherburne ahead of him. Boy, Sherburne must have had an incident. Sherburne had it off somewhere. That's dropped him all the way to the 13th position. Shank +6 starting after starting 20th.
How come Shank hasn't had DRS?
Not quite sure, unless it's a. Let's see here. Let's go back to the start of this race and see what happened on the opening salvo going into turn 1. Because boy, there was enough things that happened that deserve taking a look at. There's Jacob Mink going for the big dive into turn 1. Thing looks okay here. Now it's starting to stack up. Boy, Mink had to basically stop. We had a couple cars have to stop there. And just a bunch of nudging and budging coming out of the first chicane. Oh, that's... Who is that? That's Roger Shankoff. That's going into Lesmo 1. What in the world happened to Roger Shank there?
We're still talking about lap 1, correct?
No. We're back to live.
He's in the pits now.
Yep, that's Robert Covey coming out of pit road. It's Brian Halleck, Spencer Todd, Victor Allard battling second, third, and fourth. These guys are quite close.
Yeah, it seems like Spencer Todd really wants that second place back. Or he never had it in the first place, I believe.
No, Halleck trying to get back what he can. Ozzie Milwane laying the fastest lap of the race down to 124.81. It's going back to replays here. This is lap 2. This is Joseph Holman, who was battling up around the top 5. This is going into the Della Roggia. Boy, he just caught too much of the curb on exit, and I think that's what happened with Joey Haynes. Haynes was trying to get around Holman. Or pardon me, that was just in front of Holman. Into the Della Roggia. Again, this is lap 2. Yep, got a little bit of contact there. Caught the back end on the curb. Then everything started to kick off again. Unfortunately, can't get a decent angle there. We'll see. This is what happened to Chris Sherburne. This was on lap 4. Going down the hill into Ascari. Ooh, caught the rear end of the car on that first curb at Ascari, sent everyone scattering, and that's what put him towards the back. And then here's what happened to Roger Shank the very next lap. Looks like he's going to go through the Della Roggia fine. Oh no, Jacob, boy, that was big contact there between him and David Gargaro Jr. And you see the front end, that left front on Roger Shank locked up big time. And that will do it for Roger Shank, at least for the moment, as we'll go back live now. Not missing anything as far as this battle's concerned. A little bit further back, Joey Haynes trying to chase down Andy Spicer, that for the 11th position.
Yeah, they're going to the second chicane now. Now they're running into the first of the Lesmos. They're getting pretty close. Maybe he can get a run going into Ascari if he can stay right behind him.
Joey Haynes, that last trip around, 25.69, his fastest lap of the race. Spicer 29.8, as now he'll get that DRS. Boy, Spicer pushing him out as far as he could.
It's going to get the outside run with DRS. He's going to go right past Spicer.
It's made it a lot more adventurous than he probably wanted it, as that's Vince Harley off in Ascari. So another one of the guys that started, we saw him running very good in practice. We'll see what happened with Harley. This is where it all started for him. This is going into turn 1. To the Rettifilio chicane, caught the curb on exit, spun out. And this is a little bit later in the lap. This is where he's already gone off here. Let's take a look and see. I think it might be the same thing that happened to, oh no, he lost it on entry of Ascari there. He's had a big problem.
We had a spinner in the first chicane.
I think that might have been Chris Branson in the 199. It was Chris Branson in the 199 for high class.
Sorry to interrupt you, but if we go back up to the front, Brian Halleck is defending from Spencer Todd right now, going into Parabolica. Spencer Todd's going down the inside into Parabolica. They won't go side by side, but they're pretty close.
Well, they're going for it now, as here they come side by side onto the main straight. Victor Allard, who just set the purple lap time last time through, now Todd's going to have to get draft.
Well, Todd has DRS, and right behind him, Victor Allard also has DRS. It's going to leave Brian Halleck just being a victim of the DRS.
Yep, and Halleck will quietly slot into the third position. Hallett not close enough. Spencer Todd, so it's Evolve 1-2 right now. 3 Evolve cars in the top 5 as Michael Broomhead having a very good run here thus far, sitting in that 5th position. So we'll go back up to the battle for second here between Todd, Halleck, and Hallett. And Halleck really now coming under a lot of pressure from Victor Hallett.
Yeah, Victor Hallett has last lap made a 124.9, while Brian Halleck did a 125.7, and he's going down the inside.
Yep. DRS will win the day for Hallett as Brian Halleck, after taking the pole, leading the first lap, and then blowing the Rettifilio chicane, which lost him the lead to Ozzie Milwain, is now fallen back to 4th in that Ford Racing machine. And now, do we maybe see a little bit of Hamilton Bottas here, with Milwain leading the championship, wanting to get as good a run as he possibly can. Spencer Todd not necessarily in it, a little ways out of it. Victor Hallett making his debut, so we know he's not in the championship. This is a perfect team play here.
Yeah, especially in strategy-wise. If they can do, one can do an undercut, one can do an overcut, and split the strategies, they can definitely be a very, very good contender for this win.
Absolutely could be. As we'll take a look at everyone, as we had mentioned before, everyone currently on the medium tire. Here is the first of the drivers that is on the hards. That is David Gargaro Jr. Now, we saw him put qualifying laps in, practice laps in, on the hard tire, so he knows what that tire is going to do. His nose cone is a little bit twisted up there in the 42, but could he be one of the guys that's going for that no-stop hard strategy?
If he is, the damage in front of his car is not going to help him. That's just going to increase the drag. And the sliding around in the rear end when he was exiting the first chicane isn't going to help with that either.
Certainly not, as he's heading into the Della Roggia right now, hopping over that second curb. And you can see that the Honda bit on the nose cone there of Gargaro kind of twisted to the right after earlier contact. Maurice Camillione in the 44. He is on the hard tires as well. He came into pit on lap 2 to repair damage after being a part of the lap 1 scuffle. And the driver for position behind him is Nathan Medina in the 6. Another Vengeance Motorsports driver. He is on the hards as well after coming in on lap 2 also. So these guys, typical Formula One strategy that you see, have an early incident, you come in, you put the hards on, try to gain that track position back that way.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. We'll see how far he can take these hard tires. These hard tires, they aren't the fastest compound. So they're going to need a lot of love and tender care to make sure that they last the distance.
Absolutely. He's going to need some durability out of those tires. Vince Harley, we saw him around a couple of times a few laps ago. He's trying to recover back behind Chris Sherburne, who sits in the 10th position, but he does have the 24 of Andy Spicer in front of, behind him, pardon me, as we'll take a look on board of Spicer's number 24. And you can just see, compare this, forget about the halo for a second. You can just see and hear especially how different these cars are as compared to today's Formula One cars.
I personally don't really hear too much of a difference, considering that this is just the first generation of the 1.6 turbos. The ones we have now with the Halos, they're technically the second generation after 2017. So
you're right. That is a damaged automobile right there for Robert Covey, as he is bringing that number 72, what is allegedly a McLaren 430, into pit road.
No rear wing.
No
front end's gone.
Yep, he has certainly had a night of it already. Now, he was in pit road for quite some time prior to this, repairing damage that he got from an incident on lap 1. And now he's got the new front end put on. He's going to have to wait for a new rear wing to get put on, as this battle here between Vince Harley and Chris Sherburne now starting to go out, really go get it, as I believe David Gargaro Jr. now has the same issue. No rear wing on that number 42.
Oh no, what happened to him then?
Yeah, there goes that no-stop strategy for him. Boy, that had happened. Boy, he already
And he's
had
going
that
off
damage.
in the Lesbos.
Look at it. He already had that damage from earlier. He was battling with Stephen Paulison. Let's see if this... Nope, that doesn't tell anything.
He has a clean car.
Yeah, let's see if this says... Oh, this is going into the braking zone. Going into Ascari. I guess he must have clipped the grass and just around he went. In the lap prior. It's a big moment there for Gargaro. And Vince Harley right now in pit lane.
Someone else also has their front wing clipped off. They're going to the second chicane right now.
Vince Harley right now in pit road. Doesn't appear to have any damage on that number 95. He's going on to the red hardwall soft tires. First of the drivers to do that here tonight. Let's take a look back up here. Battle for the race lead. As Ozzie Milwane still about 1.3 seconds ahead of Spencer Todd. Now Todd is certainly drawn in closer. Milwane had a gap of about 3 seconds at its largest point. It was hovering around 2.5 when Todd had taken that second position from Brian Halleck, and now Todd has pulled that to within 1.4 of the race lead. So this team battle here is going to start to heat up, and now as these guys hit traffic, Victor Allard, Brian Halleck, Michael Broomhead, these guys are all going to start getting very close to each other again.
Yeah, for sure. Biggest thing that we're going to have to look out for is whether Spencer Todd is going to be a selfish driver or play the team game and be the rear gunner.
That's certainly one of the things he's going to have to decide. He has been quicker. He was a full second quicker than Ozzie Milwane that last lap. So that 3:18 certainly does have the pace over the race leader right now, as I think Gargaro has gone off again. He's still fine, may have just extended a little bit on Lesmo 2. Take a look at a battle for position here. This is between Maurice Camillion and Vince Harley. This for the 14th position.
Yep, coming out of Parabolica, they're going to race into the first chicane down the front straight. Is DRS open for him?
No, yes it is. And boy,
yes, it is. Now it is.
Big swing there from Harley too. And again, Harley's going to have a lot of pace. He's on that softer tire as compared to Camillion, who's on the hard. So we should see Vince Harley with quite a bit of pace. The car is not going to last nearly as long as the drivers around him, but he's going to have some Rocket Man pace, at least for the moment. As that's Joseph.
Oh, he goes deep into the Del Valle chicane.
He's going to stop and park it. So that's Vince Harley done, at least for the moment. Spencer Todd has now turned the wick back up, starting to get away from Spencer Todd a little bit. Victor Allard right there as well. Allard not that far off of these guys as far as pace goes. 24.8, 24.5, 25.1 for the top three. Allard to 25.1, so he is there as far as pace is concerned. Brian Halleck about a half a second off of Allard, and for the pole sitter, that's not what he was hoping for early on.
No, it definitely has not gone his way, and we're going to see maybe a pit strategy will get him back into the fight.
Speaking of pit strategy, we're working towards the pit stops here. Now, again, we had mentioned a couple of different options for these drivers. medium pit stops would be happening between laps 25, between laps really 23 and 26 is when we would be expecting those guys to come in. For drivers that are thinking about going from medium to soft, we would expect them to come in about 10 laps later to try to get absolutely as much of the as much use of the mediums as possible and as little use of the softs as possible going into the final run of the race. So we'll know who's on what strategy pretty much at about 5 to 10 laps from now.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to definitely see who is going to make the best strategy call.
Saw Chris Sherburne earlier on tonight battling up inside the top 10. He had his mistake that put him all the way back in the high teens. He has now worked his way back up into the top 10. That's Andy Spicer behind him, battling with Robert Deloche. In front of him, another guy who's on a recovery drive is Joey Haynes. He is up in the 8th position. Jacob Mink as well on a little bit of a recovery drive up into 6th. So as typical with road course racing, 1, you do need pace, but 2, it's also quite advantageous if you just keep the car on the racetrack.
Yeah, especially with these cars, any little bit of damage, any mistake will cost you greatly, and just being consistent with the car will definitely help you in your pursuit of a good points finish.
Looking off the back of Chris Sherburne once again, trying to find Andy Spicer behind him. He's left him for chips. Fair to say, this is now the back of Robert Deloche in that 235 out of El Cajon, California. And he has a couple of wing mirrors full of Chris Sherburne at the moment.
Yeah, as they're going through Curva Grande. I don't think that Chris Sherburne's going to have quite the amount of pace to catch him into the second chicane. But hopefully through these next couple straights and a couple help of the DRS, he can get a lot closer.
He certainly has had the pace over these last couple of laps. That last lap, he was about 2/10 up on Deloche in front of him. You can see he's got that DRS, that green little dot there on the steering wheel. That means he has DRS. The 2 green dots means it is now ready to be opened.
As you see, Deloche trying to break the toe.
Doing what he can, still did not stop Chris Sherburne from gaining a couple of tenths of a second, about 2 or 3 tenths. They're just down that back straightaway alone, and you can see the fight that these guys are going to have now going into Parabolica. This next lap here is going to be very, very big for Chris Sherburne and Robert Deloche.
Yeah, as they're coming out of the Parabolica, going down the front straight, we're going to see DRS, see if it's enough just to get around him or near him. DRS is open. He's going to go down. He's going to stay right behind him.
Boy, not close enough, and you can certainly use that as an advantage. You can sort of spook the driver in front of you. Think maybe, oh God, he's broken in a little bit later, and kind of force that driver in front of you to overshoot that corner. We've seen it earlier with Brian Halleck. Robert Deloche right now, at least for the moment, holding his nerve as they head through the De La Roggia chicane.
Yeah, you could definitely put your nose in, not too far in, but enough to show that you're there. Maybe play a little bit of mind games as you're doing it to let them know that you're there, and if they take it too seriously, they'll lock up their tires and make a big mistake, which will allow you to go right past them.
No DRS here. Oh, there we go. Now he's opened it. A little bit late
getting
there
a lot
on
closer.
that run. Yep, certainly is.
If you can stay right behind him through Ascari and going into Parabolica, we can have a fight.
It's about 0.3 of a second there left between these two.
It's going deep into the draft, into Parabolica. He can go into Parabolica. It's too risky, but he's going to try to do it through the front straight. And they're exiting Parabolica right now, going down the front straight. We're going to see if the DRS is now just enough to go down the front straight and get right alongside him. Haynes really needs, no, not Haynes, Deloche really needs to break the toe. And as you see Sherburne going down the inside, is he going to outbrake him? Nope, no, he doesn't.
Sherburne, nope, just not able Doesn't want a three-spot grid penalty for the next race.
A little Verstappen joke.
I pulled one earlier that you missed. As here comes Sherburne now. This one's going into the Della Roggia. Boy, this one, the Della Roggia chicane is a lot harder to pull one of those moves off. Those chicanes are a little bit tighter, and those curbs there can really, really end your day, and you do not have as much calm runoff as you do in turn one.
No, you don't. You could definitely destroy the car going through one of those giant, massive hill of curb, and that will ruin your night for sure.
I'm surprised Sherburne's opening that rear wing so late down the straightaway. Now that DRS, there is a DRS polystyrene sign that's out there. That's when he can open the DRS. He's waiting until all the way down the hill before he finally gets that thing open.
Yeah, it's very ineffective to do that. I don't know why he's not opening it a lot earlier. He could definitely get a better run going into the Scari doing that.
See the DRS sign right there. He's just passed it. Now he opens it. He's going to try to get that run going into turn one. Sherburne has shown he's been faster, but he's not going to put the move on.
No, he's an outside contender. He needs to take these risks. He needs to push it. He needs to send it down the inside and show, that he can compete. He's kind of being very reserved.
I mean, you wouldn't consider 14 points with 3 races to go after the checkered flag flies as Deloche, a little bit wild coming out of the Della Roggia chicane. That opens the door for Sherburne, and patience will pay off as Sherburne will get the position. That's P9. But Deloche right now has the DRS coming down this back straightaway here.
Yeah, is he going to be more? Yes, he is. He's going to be more effective than Sherburne. Now let's see if Sherburne can do exactly what Deloche did by defending the inside of Ascari. Nope.
Sherburne's going to have to rely on raw pace here to get away from Robert Deloche, and he's just about got it there. He's already 0.8 up on the 235. And if Deloche isn't careful here, he's going to fall into the clutches of Andy Spicer, who's been slowly creeping his way back up.
Yeah, does Spicer have DRS? Is it within the range?
Yes,
we're going to find out. Yes, he is. And we're going to definitely... He's not going to catch him into the first chicane, but he's definitely going to get a lot closer.
He's got a couple of laps. He still has a couple of laps yet before he gets close, unless Deloche makes a mistake. But Sherburne did a very good job there on that lap. One, to take advantage of the mistake in about a half a lap, get himself out of that DRS zone. He was just outside of it. It was like 1.02 seconds before they got to the detection zone. So Deloche could not use that DRS going down the main straightaway. And now Deloche 1.5 seconds behind Chris Sherburne at the end of the first lap behind him.
Yep, and we're going to see if Spicer's going to get even more closer going to Ascari.
Battle a little bit further ahead. This is for the positions just in front of those guys that we were just watching, as Robert Gamble in the 48, also for Sector 5, trying to hold off Joey Haynes, who has been on quite the run. Haynes has been about a half a second a lap quicker than Robert Gamble. And this is going to be big, especially because we are nearing ever so close to pit stops here coming up. So this could be a time where, it might pay off to be a little bit more patient, knowing that you have you have to pit.
Ooh, Roger Shank, his car right in front of Robert Gamble. It's totally broken.
And that goes back to what we saw earlier on, as Shank will stay out of the way, at least for this battle here for the moment. He'll end up splitting the two.
Yeah, they're going to go into the first set of Lesmos. It looks like Roger Shank got out of the way. It's kind of unfortunate that Haynes lost a little bit of time to Gamble because of Shank. He didn't get out of the way too quickly. But he has a DRS. He's going to catch right back up going into Ascari. And then he might have the run. I don't think he can make the move into going to Ascari now, but he's definitely going to have the run going into Parabolica.
Not quite yet. as Joey Haynes trying to do what he can to get up to the back of Robert Gamble. As we have our first taker, at least of the front drivers, to pit road. That is Jacob Mink with that torn up front wing on the number 47. You can see that battle we were just watching there a second ago flashing by. So Jacob Mink, the first of the drivers in, so we know he's going to try to do the medium.
Yeah, it seems like he's doing the undercut. I mean, he's lucky that his pit window happened to be right now, so you can fix that damage and get the pit strategy done at the same time.
There's the lap time history between Robert Gamble and Joey Haynes, about 0.3 of a second the lap before, down 0.2 of a second this lap. So Gamble has sort of upped his pace to match Joey Haynes. However, still not enough to really get out of the danger zone.
Yeah, well, the DRS is definitely going to play a big part. I think he might add a slowdown.
I think he might have. You're right. Running a little bit too wide in the Lesmos. And Joey Haynes, with the DRS, will jump up into that 6th position. Now, it's only an effective P6. Now that the pit cycle has begun, we'll take a look and see what Ozzie Millwane. Those guys have all stayed out as they head through the De La Roggia chicane now.
Yep, and his teammate's still right behind him. Looks like he's going to play rear gunner for now.
As Victor Aled just setting the fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago to 24:89. So Aled does have the pace. Or pardon me, that was a personal... I'm sorry, that was Halleck's personal best. My bad. Fastest lap of the race did go to Victor Aled. It was a 24:26 2 laps ago. The time he did last time he crossed the line was a 24:47. Still quicker than both of the drivers in front of him. So we'll take a look and see what happens here. Will they go into pit road? No, they will not. Millwane will not. Todd will not. And Aled will not. So the top 3 stay out. And these 3 have put a good 4 seconds on Brian Halleck, who is now quite a ways behind them.
Oh, Victor Aled just overshot the first chicane.
Oh, and he's pulled it off.
What's going on?
Wow. So Victor Aled overshoots the first chicane, pulls it off. He's done. At least for the moment, he's done. Andy Spicer had a big moment, and that's what we had switched to just as that was happening. Take a look at what happened to Spicer. Oh, my goodness. And that was one of the big curbs there that they put to try to deter drivers from taking the cut. Sent him skyward. Now here's what happened with Victor Aled. Going into turn 1, just locked it up, missed the cones, and he's just towed it back.
I don't know why. He could have just gone to the runoff and just continued fighting. Halleck wasn't even near.
No, he was not even close. So looking at Jacob Mink here battling with Chris Branson. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that could have been still a good P3 fight. That would have been really good points.
Certainly, and again for Aled, this is his first crack in the major series, and from what I can tell, he is not. He's still most likely still towing.
No, he's disconnected.
Oh, he is done. So Aled, unless something externally happened, just rather inexplicably overshooting the first corner and then pulling off and done.
Yeah, very, very strange. I mean, there was a lot to play for with that. I mean, it was just a small mistake. It happens. It's natural.
I mean, that I don't know. Again, this is him being a debut and being Brazilian, so there is the language barrier. Wonder if he had maybe a steering wheel go out on him, VR maybe go out on him.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, we've seen that. Lord knows, I know you guys have had VR issues over in the Endurance for Amateurs series that runs on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, I definitely have had issues. I've had a game crash before. That was back in Mid-Ohio. You saw that.
Yep.
Quite unfortunate for me. I was running in second and ended up, DNFing. So these things do happen. It's very possible he had a hardware error and it just wasn't meant to be.
It's Brian Halleck going into the pits from third. So Hallett kind of on the back end of this medium stint option. As Hallett will take it to pit lane.
Well, let's see what he chooses as tires. It looks like it's going to be another medium strategy.
Yep. So Halleck down and away. Ozzie Milwane just set the fastest first sector of the race. So Milwane's still flying on those mediums. There's still life left in those mediums. And right now, it is an Evolve 1, 2, 3. Milwane, Todd, Broomhead, and Joey Haynes running in fifth. So the three Evolve cars. Oh, watch out! Big slide! Sure who that was. Was that Paulison? No, that was not Paulison. Was it Gargaro maybe? I think it was Gargaro that had a big slide there. Almost took Joey Haynes out going into one.
Ooh, that would have been really unfortunate there. Actually did have some contact.
So that was Gargaro. Let's try to take a look and see who in the world that was.
Yeah, just touching. Yeah, he just touched the grass on the outside on the entry of the first chicane. Went over the curbing and corrected it at the last second. So that was very close to contact. Not very close to contact, pretty close.
This is Gargaro here coming into the braking zone, and boy, you're right, Dennis. Just barely caught that curb, and a big slide, a big save for him. Not doing too much damage to his car going over those curbs. As Gargaro again still on the hard tires. He has had to come in to get a new front and rear wing replaced. So Gargaro has been down pit roads, decides to stay on the mediums, and that's him allowing Chris Sherburne. Pardon me, that was Robert Gamble passed. There's Gamble.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a back marker, the only thing you can do is let the leaders by you. He did it in a very safe spot, so that's very good sportsmanship from Gargaro.
Two guys battling each other again. Go ahead.
Gargaro spun again, right into the second chicane. I think he hit the second the right-hander in the second chicane, and it spun him around.
Let's take a look at that. This is going into the De La Rocha chicane. Yep, did. He back end wrapped around that curbing on the second corner. Very fortunate for him not to hit anything. And he's down and away with maybe a little bit of damage to his pride and nothing much else. I think he's had another off going through the Lesmos.
He did. Yeah, he went through the first Lesmo, went a little wide, went onto the gravel, and then he had to basically slide it through the second, not the second, the second Lesmo.
Still in the gravel here, and yep, this is more damage to the pride for Gargaro. Gargaro had such a good run a couple of weeks ago at Darlington. A solid top 5 finish. Again, finishing second in that incredible 87 Daytona 500 earlier on this year, back in February. So he has certainly had his good runs on ovals, but Gargaro, while he's had a few shining moments on road courses, this has not been his bag. He has proven to be an oval guy this season, and he'll be happy to know that there's 2 ovals left of the 3 races coming up the remainder of this season. The next time we will be with the Majors Series coming up after tonight And I get the date back up here. Will be for the Snowball. The Snowball Derby. That will be on the 3rd of October at Five Flags Speedway. In the super late models, as Michael Broomhead comes in, surrendering that 3rd position. That will be in the super late models at Five Flags again. Then after that, on October 24th, will be the SCCA runoffs at Road Atlanta. The MX-5s and the Spec Fords will be taking part in what will be the penultimate race of the season. And then the final race of the year will take place on the 7th of November. That will be the Indy Japan 300 in the 2009 Indy cars at Twin Ring Motegi. As Ozzie Milwane now will come in and pit from the lead. Spencer Todd will follow suit. And now we'll take a look and see if Brian Halleck, look on the track map here, find number 3. He's going through Ascari right now.
Ooh. One right behind him just basically lost the rear end and went straight into the Ascari.
Looks like that might have been Nathan Medina in the 6 on the back, in the back there. So there is Brian Halleck. We'll see if he's gained any time on the 2 race leaders. There's Ozzie Milwane down and away. There's Spencer Todd down and away. And Brian Halleck still a little bit of a ways away. So now 5 seconds off the front pair is Halleck.
Yeah, he tried to perform the undercut, if I believe, and it just didn't work out for him. It seemed like the front 2 just had a better strategy. They had better pace, so they could just stay right ahead of him.
One driver on track right now on the soft tires. That is Chris Sherburne. Sherburne came into pit on lap 22. I shudder to think that those soft tires are going to last another 23 laps here, and he's already done 7 on those soft tires. And usually in true Grand Prix racing, these tires would be screaming and yelling for help at this stage.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real way, unless he's gonna massage the tires all the way through, that he's gonna make it through with those tires, or they're gonna really die towards the end, and it's gonna be really difficult to drive that car.
Absolutely, and this is back at the good old days where you'd make 2 or 3 pit stops during a race. And I think Sherburne is taking a throwback to those days, because I'm thinking he's gonna have to come in again. He's gonna have to, no?
Well, if he does come back in again, this could just be a bunch of glory runs, trying to get the fastest laps. I just don't see how he's going to make him last another, 22 laps?
You mentioned him being the championship outsider. So I understand in that scenario you do need to do something a little bit different from everybody else in order to kind of find your way, as Sherburne goes way wide out of Ascari. Enough room given by the track creators. Only 2 guys left that have not come into pit. Here's one of them, one of the championship trio, Joey Haynes, who has had so much success on the road courses this season, has won 3 multi-class races, including the season opener at Daytona. So Haynes has certainly had his fair share of success on the road courses this season. And Robert Gamble in the 48, currently running in 6th. He is the only other driver that has yet to come into pit. So those 2 might be genuinely going for that medium-soft strategy when everyone else has decided to go medium-medium.
Yes, now we have to see also, did they have enough pace in the mediums throughout their entire stint to warrant that soft at the end? If you lost too much time going for that strategy in the medium stint, it's going to be very difficult to make it up in the soft stint.
Now they're both coming in here, and this is like right on the fringe of that medium-soft, medium-medium strategy. So these guys could pull it off from here. We'll see what Haynes decides to do. Haynes gets into the box, stopped on and off on the mediums. We'll see now what Gamble decides to do. Gamble goes to the red softs.
I think Gamble's trying to go after Haynes. With the extra pace he's going to get out of the softs, he could definitely catch up to him. And he needs to get in front of him as quickly as possible before the softs start dying of old age.
It's a double-edged sword, and we talk about this in Grand Prix racing all the time. When you put these on, yes, I'm going to have more grip, yes, I'm going to have more pace, but these tires are going to fall off a lot quicker than his. So yes, I may get around him early in the run, but I'm going to have to really scamper and get away, so I'm not defending the entire run.
Exactly. I mean, there's only so much you can do with softs pretty much this early, that either you're going to have to just hope that the pace is more than enough to keep you going and keep you competitive, or you're just going to have to send it and just hope that you get around your rivals and can stay long enough ahead that they can get back around you.
Only 3 drivers no longer participating in the race tonight. Robert Covey done on lap 9. He had a mare of an opening couple of laps. Did the 72. Vince Harley, we saw him pull off early. And then Victor Awed, was running very impressively in his series debut here with the Major Series. Just pull it off out of turn 1 on lap 24. Actually, Vince Harley's back out on the racetrack, so I apologize for that. So only 2 drivers that have officially retired, just Robert Covey and Victor Awed, as Vince Harley should get that position back, barring another major incident for the driver of the 95.
Yeah, and all the way in the back, Roger Shank. I don't know if you saw what he was doing the entire race, but he had no rear wing. He just came into the pits to fix his car, and definitely looked like a high-tech Formula V car the entire time out there.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys did have one fast repair on offer here tonight, so Roger Shank has decided to use that now to get a rear wing on that car. You can change the front wing clip without using the fast repair, so those are virtually unlimited here tonight. But the rear wing, though, that's usually one that puts you down and out for the day. So you would definitely need the fast repair for that. Closest battle on track right now being held between this man, Stephen Paulison, in the 322, and Joseph Holman in the 999. Right behind him. Now, this is what happened to Joseph Holman a couple of laps ago that put him in the position that he's in right now. This is going into the Variante Rettifilio. Big heavy outbraking maneuver. Decides to go and take the runoff, knowing that he would not make the corner. Takes the runoff, runs out the little bit of extra time on the slowdown, and is going right back after Stephen Paulison here. This is a battle for the 13th position between these two, and you can tell, that's between Holman and Gargaro. You can tell, other than the lap of incident, Joseph Holman has had quite some pace over Stephen Paulison.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to try to definitely look for a move coming in the next couple of laps. Try to get that 13th position away from Paulson.
You're not missing anything up front. Ozzie Milwain still leading this race. Only thing is, now he's leading it by 4.2 seconds. Is the 114, getting around a couple of lap cars. Milwain does have the fastest lap of the race at a 124.05. So really flying on those the newer medium tires. Spencer Todd in second now, 6.3 seconds ahead of Brian Halleck. And as is typically the case in road racing, we're spread out.
Well, as you were going through that situation, we had a change of position. Joseph Holman has finally gotten around Paulson. They did it going out of the exit of Ascari, going into the entrance of Parabolica.
So we're seeing the replay of it right now. Down the long straightaway out of Ascari. Homan has had the pace to begin with. Homan started up in the top 5, or up in the top 10, I should say. And was able to make that make that pass stick. Paulison, however, keeping close tabs with that DRS down to Main Straight. And this right here for the 13th position is the closest battle on track with 17 laps to go. So what we'll do now is we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching the Major Series American Sportsman Division Italian Grand Prix. Ozzie Milwane leading the way as he has been ever since lap 2 with 16 and a half to go. We'll be back right after this. You are watching the Italian Grand Prix for the Major Series American Sportsman Division coming up here on ESPN. Tomorrow, to start the new week, will be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. They will be at Richmond for round number 2 of their playoff race. Only 9 races to go in the season for the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. That will be at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. On Tuesday, the Tuesday doubleheaders will return as the MX5 Pro Series opens up Season 3 from Okayama. That will be at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. The nightcap of the Tuesday night doubleheader will be the Western States Racing League, just about to get halfway through Season 45. They will be at North Wilkesboro at 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time. On Wednesday, the doubleheaders return again as the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series heads to Texas for round number 7. An 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time start, and then 10 minutes after that will be the Endurance for Amateurs Series, round number 1 from the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park at 8:25 on Wednesday night. So a great week of racing packed up. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, double headers. It is a big, big week of racing here on ESPN coming up. These last couple of laps, we've been wondering which one of the two drivers up at the top was going to eclipse the 1 minute 23 second barrier. Spencer Todd did it by about 3/1000ths of a second. And then the next lap, Ozzie Milwain did it a little bit more convincingly, cleared it by about 7/100ths of a second. So these two up here at the front, absolutely flying.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've been watching them for a while, and then we might as well have just taken bets on who's going to have the fastest lap. It would have been very, very, very close.
Absolutely.
If you go back, Robert Gamble and Chris Sherburne have just been going at it for the last couple of laps.
Yeah, we saw that during the break there. It was, Gamble makes the mistake a little bit too early on the gas, coming out of the Rettifilio chicane, and that will give Chris Sherburne the 7th position. So that one little mistake by Robert Gamble was all it took, trying to get out of the corner a little bit quicker. Just could not get the front end to hook up, even on those softer tires. Position gone.
Yep, and it seems like Sherburne put his teammate under pressure. And you know what happens when you get under pressure? Sometimes you make these silly mistakes, and you just go off wide and you lose position. And this is a position that, could have definitely been fought for, but to lose it off of a mistake, it does tend to hurt.
It certainly does. We do have a couple of incidents to look back at. This is during the break here. We showed it. Maurice Gamillion going into turn 1. Did not have a fair old time with it, as too much rear brake on the hard tires, just loops it around going into the Rettifilio chicane. David Gargaro Jr. also having an incident. This is just as we came back from break going into turn 1. Sitting behind Vince Harley, and ends up blowing the first chicane, also on the hard tire. And Andy Spicer has had an issue as well. Once again, it looks like we're going to have oh, my goodness, what happened to Andy Spicer? That is an awkward way to end a race. Spicer going down the front straightaway. Oh, it must have been a wheel. Oh boy, his rig must have died, because you heard there, throttle went out. No more steering for the 24 of Spicer.
Yep, and he is out of the server as well.
So that's
his night over.
Yep. Well, these two up here at the front, Ozzie Milwain and Spencer Todd, continue to share fastest lap of this race. Spencer Todd did a 23.92. Milwain did a 23.92. Todd answered with a 23.98. Milwain responds with a 23.87. So as the fuel load is going down on these cars, so are the lap times around the racetrack. But these two are the only ones remotely near each other as far as overall pace is concerned.
Yeah, that's for sure. Do you want to take a bet who's going to be have the fastest lap at the end of the race, or?
You know what?
Did you leave your wallet at home?
I did. You know what? Son of a gun. That's exactly what happened.
All right, we'll take a little friendly bet, just a little bit of bragging rights, I guess.
You know what? I think Milwain has been on point all night long. At least the fastest lap, I think, is going to go to the 114.
Well, we don't know that. If they come into a back marker and they get DRS, they can definitely use that to get fastest lap.
Yep, absolutely. As we'll see, Joey Haynes working on the car ahead of him. That is Jacob Mink in the 47. Just ahead of Joey Haynes, and these two have really been getting closer. A big mistake by Jacob Mink cost him 4 seconds of distance between himself and Joey Haynes that last time around. So Haynes now within 2.3 seconds. He's in a little bit of sniffing distance between now for that 5th position to make those 4 Evolve cars up into the top 5. So he's certainly going to be hoping for that, as it is Evolve, Forge, Evolve, and then High Class. The teams running in the top 5. This is a huge day for Evolve Racing to get back into the team championship.
Yeah, for sure. They're doing such a good job, especially the 2 front drivers, just putting an absolute domination piece on the rest of the field.
Speaking of domination piece, Ozzie Milwain said, you know what, enough of flirting with the 23s. You know, we're just going full in. 23.56, that last lap for Ozzie Milwain.
I think he had DRS from Roger Shank. It's a bit of cheating, but we'll take it.
It's acceptable cheating at this point, as Michael Broomhead.
This is motorsport. Who doesn't cheat?
Exactly. As Michael Broomhead does a 24 flat. He's not going to be in touch with Brian Halleck for the 3rd position, still 13 seconds behind the 3. But Michael Broomhead having one of his better races this season. A great effort from the driver of the 54 here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. He's been doing so well since the beginning.
As Broomhead, we've seen him have a lot of his success on the road courses this season, and certainly showing up here tonight has Broomhead. As we'll take a look a little bit further back, Chris Branson and Maurice Gamillion. This is a battle for the final spot in the top 10. These two both off of the lead lap, but on the same lap to each other. This is the closest battle for position on the circuit right now. And while these two are getting a little bit closer to each other, let's take a look and see. This is a couple of laps ago. David Gargaro Jr. going into Parabolica behind Nathan Medina. Ooh, boy, back end really came out on that 42. We had mentioned it before. Gargaro has been an oval racer this season for sure. He's having a rough night here, but good on him for sticking through it.
Oh, it looks like Richard Branson. Chris Branson is really chasing down Gamillion.
Certainly is, and I think our pick is going to go null and void there, at least for the top 2. Nathan Medina in the number 6 for Vengeance just set the fastest lap of the race at a 23.46. Now, he had started on the hards and is now on the softs. So that's his strategy working out for him. +3 from where he started. So he can't really complain. A nice lap there from Nathan Medina, as now Gamillion and Branson starting to get really close.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely going into Ascari, and it looks like Branson's got the DRS.
He does. Not close enough to make a move.
No.
As you see these last couple of laps, the gap difference between the two.
The gap is going to get a lot closer as Branson's getting the draft from Gamillion. He's going to go side by side into Parabolica.
Looks like he's going to take. He's got the line, and
he takes the position.
Very good run for Chris Branson. +4 from where he started. Nice top 10 finish here at the Italian Grand Prix. Should be very nice for him.
And he's trying to break the toe. Chris Branson's just trying to get away from Chameleon. He's doing really well so far, though. If he can get a good exit out of the chicane, he should be able to just run away.
He's on the softer tire, too, so Chameleon, who came into pit on lap 2, has not pit since that since coming in after his first lap incident. So yeah, we did have somebody go essentially from pillar to post on the hard tires.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have paid dividends. It's just you have to massage the tires nice and carefully throughout the entire race, and even so, that doesn't guarantee you pace.
Absolutely. As we'll go back up towards the front here, as Ozzie Milwane still sitting very comfortably as they head through Curva Grande. 7.4 second lead over Spencer Todd right now, and ever since the mistake by Brian Halleck on lap number 2, let's go back and take a look and see what happened that got Ozzie Milwane the race lead here. This is from way back on lap 2. Halleck blows the first corner. Milwane gives enough room and is able to get around Halleck for the race lead on lap 2. And ever since then, that 114, the current points leader, has been absolutely untouchable here tonight.
I went back to go look at Jacob Mink's and Joey Haynes' battle. It looks like Joey Haynes, he was just outside of DRS range, around 1.1 seconds away from Mink. And they're still having the battle. It looks like Joey Haynes is just trying to take the draft and see what he can do while he's in the draft.
Looking through here, I'm trying to remember. I think Ozzie Milwane, if I remember correctly, won one of the classes back at Daytona to open up the season, and that would be his only win of the year for Milwane. So consistency has been king for Ozzie Milwane this season to have the 7-point lead that he has over both Spencer Todd and Brian Halleck. And it's also nice to see the top 3 drivers in the point standings right now are going to be filling out the 3 positions on the podium.
I think something happened to Jacob Minks. He's not behind Joey Haynes.
He's had an off somewhere. Let's take a look and see. This is, yeah, Mink had a big off going into the Della Roggia chicane. Let's see one more time here. Yep, he went straight through the Della Roggia, had to slow down, and Joey Haynes gets through. So make that evolve 1, 2, 4, 5 in this race. Absolutely unbelievable team effort. We saw Vengeance Motorsports have an incredible run. They were 1, 2, 3 for a point there at Darlington, but to have 4 cars in the top 5 that's absolutely incredible and exactly what the doctor ordered for Evolve going into the final 3 races of the season.
Yeah, they've had such a good run. The whole team has got to be proud of themselves that by the end of this race, if this keeps the same order, they're going to be super elated.
Absolutely. Evolve came into this 59 points, off of the points lead for Forge. With Brian Halleck being the only Forge representative in the top 10. That is a huge night upcoming here for Evolve. I mean, that's what a team effort, and all 4 of their drivers are all right around the same pace as each other. This is a full-on team effort to get these guys to where they are here tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
So we'll see an Ozzie Milwane come out of Ascari there. I believe that is Robert Gamble just up the road. Gamble, the last car on the lead lap, running in the 8th position. Closest battle on track for position right now is the return battle between Joey Haynes and Jacob Mink. And that's almost at 2 seconds, with Haynes starting to gap a little bit. Haynes just set his personal best lap at a 24:08.
Oh, Jacob Mink made a mistake going into the second
Yep, there he
chicane.
goes. Did the same exact thing he did the lap before, or a couple of laps before, that gave Joey Haynes the position. Surprised he's not getting slowdown penalties for that.
I don't think he should. He's going down the service road, the
Oh, okay,
the
fair
road you're
enough.
supposed to take.
Fair enough. That's Vince Harley behind Jacob Mink, so he could play a little bit of a factor here. This is Chris Branson. Now, Branson just had an off. Let's take a look and see what happened to him. Caught too much of the curb at Ascari. That put him over the sausage curb in the second bit of Ascari. Claps the wall, and that will put Maurice Gamillion back around him. So Gamillion back up into 10th. So I make that 3 Forge cars in the top 10, pardon me, with Halleck, Robert Deloche in 9th, and now Gamillion in 10th. Sector 5 also having a solid night as well, with Chris Sherburne battling in it. And Sherburne needed to have a little bit better of a result if he really wanted to make a stand on the championship, being as far back as he was. But I mean, he did about as good as he could have possibly done. Started in 12th, he's going to finish 7th. That's +5 on the day. That's really not that bad an effort from Chris Sherburne.
No, it's not a bad effort, but the problem is he needs to be a lot further ahead to stay in the championship. I don't know if he's going to stay in this championship after this race ends, unless something really happens to the front runners.
It might be a 3-horse race after tonight, especially with the way these top 3 have performed. Ozzie Milwain, Spencer Todd, Brian Halleck, and this is the way that they will leave Monza, not just in the results. This is the way they will leave Monza in the championship as well. Again, with Justin Garrick no longer participating this season for one reason or another. It's a 3-horse race, and these 3 are showing each other now that it's going to be a fight. None of these guys are going to let the other one off easy. And especially going into the short track at 5 Flags in a couple of weeks, it could get very rough and tumble.
Sorry to cut you off, but we got a battle. Chris Branson and Maurice Gamillion. They're going to the second chicane right now. They're very close to each other.
0.4 of a second between the two, and this could be the final battle, really, between these two, and it could get decided going into Ascari right here. We'll see with Branson. Gamillion trying his best to break the draft. Does Branson have enough pace in it? He does not, to get the move going into Ascari. As we'll look back at Ozzie Milwain, who again, ever since lap 2, has not put a foot wrong here tonight. Milwain has had an absolutely fantastic run, looking for his second win of the season, looking to stamp his authority on this championship as he's only got a corner to go. Ozzie Milwain has been dominant all night. You can see this coming from the last couple of weeks. He was due for a win as he comes through Parabolica onto the main straightaway. The Italian Grand Prix will go not just to Evolve, but to Ozzie Milwain, who will extend his points lead. He wins the Italian Grand Prix.
Congrats to Milwain. While you were announcing Milwain, the battle between Branson and Gamillion got really interesting going into turn 1, and then Branson just lost it going out of the chicane.
Branson has fallen off. A battle here still brewing, and we got about a lap to figure it out here as Sherburne. Jacob Mink goes wide coming out of the Della Roggia chicane. That will promote Chris Sherburne up into the 6th position. So we still do have some racing going on here. Milwain, Todd, Halleck, Broomhead have all finished. So just the top 4 are official results, as I think Sherburne has gotten enough away from Jacob Mink. And I think we're safe to say here, with an 0.8 of a second gap and growing,
No, he won't catch him. He
Yeah.
will not catch him.
I think that's pretty safe to say now that Mink has thrown away not just the 5th position,
And he
but
goes wide
6th
again.
as well. Yep, trying a little bit too hard. Is Jacob Mink. And Chris Sherburne will wrap up 6th position. But the man of the night was certainly Ozzie Milwane, who had one heck of a run of it from start to finish here tonight. Took advantage of the mistake by Halleck, who just did not seem to have the pace all night long. And just an incredible individual performance from Ozzie Milwane. An incredible team performance from Evolve Sim Sports Academy.
Yeah, Ozzy has just been going straight to the finish from beginning to end. Just absolutely dominant as a driver. Very, very good job from Ozzy.
Waiting for these guys now to jump in so we could get a word with them, as we'll try and see what we can figure out here as we have them in now. It will be Ozzie Milwane taking the victory, his first since, if I remember correctly, I hope I do, it's Daytona at the beginning of the season. And Ozzie, today was an absolutely unbelievable performance. You there, Ozzie?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yep, we got you now.
Okay. Yeah, no, I heard you there. No, it's a long time coming. I really needed a win there. I was kind of on my heels with the championship. A little nervous coming into this race. Didn't put it where I wanted to in qualifying. I had the pace to put it on pole. I just couldn't put it together. But I'm just glad we kept it clean in corner 1 there, and after that, put it in autopilot.
You certainly did have the pace, and boy, did you show it here tonight. Just an incredible run, not just for yourself, but for the team, Evolve Sim Sports Academy. 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th. What did you guys do as a team this week that just worked so well here tonight?
You know what? I think we had a pretty good setup, to be honest with you. It was really easy to drive. And then we just kept it clean the whole race. Joey had some bad luck at the beginning of the race, but he came back. And yeah, Spencer put it P2, Mike P4, I believe.
Yep. Just an absolutely incredible run by all of you guys. Now we'll take it back to what would be the race-winning move. What did you see from your point of view going into turn 1 on lap 2 when Halleck blew that corner, gave him plenty of room to get through, but it just looked like you had the bite coming out of the Rettifilio to make the move stick?
Yeah, honestly, I kind of messed that one up too. I kind of braked early just because I didn't want to hit him. And just first lap, tires being cold. And I kind of missed the braking zone, and I went a little wide. Kept it off him. He kept it off me, and then, yeah.
How did the tires feel tonight? We saw a lot of guys go from medium to medium. Was there ever a thought that maybe let's try the softs? I doubt hards were ever in your plan, but was there a thought maybe to stick it out a little bit longer on the mediums and try the softs at least, or how were the mediums tonight?
They felt really good. I didn't do too much practice with them leading up to this race, but yeah, it was kind of a game time decision to go with the mediums. But yeah, I was thinking about it. Stretching it out and running the softs for the last stint there, but yeah, we stuck with the mediums.
All right, fair enough. And we got a couple of weeks break here before we go back to oval racing. A little bit more short track racing here. We'll head to Five Flags in the super late models for the Snowball Derby. What are your thoughts going into Five Flags Speedway in about 3 weeks' time?
I'm looking forward to it. Did pretty well at the modifieds a little while ago. I just gotta watch my tire wear. That's my weakness on the ovals.
think that's something a lot of these guys are going to be fighting, especially at Five Flags. Anybody you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate a win that was a while coming?
Yep, Direct Innovations and Tranco, all the team, just all the effort they put in leading up to all these races, and you guys in the booth did a great job.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. As your championship leader takes home his second win of the season, Ozzie Milwayne, Bud, congratulations.
Thanks a lot, guys.
So that was Ozzie Milwayne, and we'll bring in Spencer Todd here in just a moment to get this one wrapped up. And Spencer, a very good run for you. Started in the 5th position, was able to get up rather quickly as the race went on. You just had the pace. You had the pace to be able to get into that 2nd position. Didn't seem as though you had the pace to match your teammate, though.
Yeah, there was no sense once I got in between. So I'm not in the championship. Once I got in between Ozzy and Brian, there was no sense in me cooking my tires or potentially making a mistake trying to catch Ozzy. So I kind of just set into a groove and was ticking off the laps and seemed to work out okay and no close calls. So I'm happy with the result.
I realize my mistake now. It's once you said that, I said the top 3 in the championship finished in the top 3 position. It was Haynes was the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, I missed a race. Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, still a very, very good run for you. And as I had mentioned with Ozzy, a good run for your team. 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 5th. Can't really be upset with what happened here tonight for you and your team.
Yeah, no, we're ecstatic. It's a great points haul. We're at a bit of a deficit. Got a bit of a rough start to the season in terms of overall teams points. So we're trying to reel in the front guys, and this kind of just reinforces that charge. So yeah, very happy with the result for our boys.
Yeah, boy, you certainly pulled in quite a bit here tonight. We go to short track racing, a classic short track race coming up on the 3rd of October. That would be the Snowball Derby at Five Flags and the Super Late Models. What are your thoughts and feelings going into Five Flags Speedway in about 3 weeks' time?
Very similar to the approach of every oval race. I take it as basically lap by lap, and I definitely will put in a fair bit of testing because oval is not generally my thing, but I always have fun preparing for those races, and I look forward to that run.
Certainly had a good run here tonight, and I'm sure with the momentum of the team, I'm sure you'll be just fine at Five Flags in a couple of weeks. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go and celebrate a 2nd place finish tonight?
Yeah, just all the boys back at Evolve. They gave me a really good car, great setup, and for sure, I want to thank our sponsors that make it possible. We've got Direct Innovations and Tranco Production Machines, as well as a new sponsor we brought to the table is Muradness. So they're our official glove supplier for the rest of the year and beyond. So really happy to have everybody on board and thankful for their support.
You certainly put them to great use here tonight, you and the team. 2nd place finisher tonight, Spencer Todd. Bud, congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for the great broadcast as well.
No problem. That's also up to you guys, and you guys do a fantastic job of it every single week. We'll now bring in our 3rd place finisher here, Brian Halleck. Brian sat on the pole, made that mistake on the 2nd lap that put you behind Ozzy, and then just from there, you didn't seem to have it tonight.
Yeah, I agree. Once we got settled down, everyone in front of me was faster, everyone behind me was slower, and I was like, you know what, I'm feeling pretty good about where I settled in at. And as for that mistake, it was mostly me just looking in my rearview mirror at the pressure I was getting and not hitting my mark that I needed to hit, and then it was a little bit of a lockup.
Yeah, other than that, a rather flawless race from you, coming home in 3rd, splitting up what was an Evolve dominant night. From a team perspective, you guys at Forge finishing 3rd, 9th, and 10th. here tonight. What was it just about the team setup that maybe just did not match with Evolve tonight?
I was talking with some of them in the waiting room, and they're mostly road guys, and that's their strong suit. We're a little bit of a mix. I'm certainly more on the oval side, but I know that they are always tough on road, and they're ones to watch on oval. But I feel like they do have the upper hand on road, and they all did very well. So I'm happy to split them. Happy to get the podium. Like I said, I think I got about what I should have gotten today, and it was good fun.
And going into October 3rd, which is the next time we will see you guys, going into the Snowball Derby from Five Flags Speedway, you'll be second place in points. You'll have a little bit bigger of a gap to Ozzy this week going into your strong suit. Still have 2 ovals left on the schedule. What are your thoughts going into Five Flags?
I think I'm going to do well. I'm really hoping for a win, quite honestly, and I think it might come down to who can win on their strong suit and who can hang on in their not so strong side, which is some of the real good benefit of the majors. You get a mix of everything, and I had not turned a single lap on this car 3 weeks ago. I owned it. I think it came free with whatever sign-up bonus I signed up with years ago, but I had never done laps on it, and a little bit intimidated. A lot of controls, but managed well. But next round, I am expecting to do well. I got 2 ovals to 1 road. Hopefully, that's enough for me to make up the difference. We'll see.
Well, we'll certainly be watching and waiting to see. Is anyone you want to thank here for your 3rd place finish tonight?
Just the team. Very supportive, always on most nights. I'm looking at different parts of the track. They always suggest breaking points, different lines, and makes me quicker. So I do appreciate all that. And then our sponsors, Rethread Clothing Company and Majors Garage. Thanks for their support as well.
All right, fantastic. Your 3rd place finisher tonight, Brian Halleck. Bud, congratulations.
Thanks, guys. All the best.
Thank you very much. Dennis, your first time broadcasting with us, first time broadcasting with the Majors series. What'd you think of your debut night?
Debut, it's okay. It's definitely a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was just going to speak and come up with really witty things, but no, my brain just goes numb thinking of all the things I could say.
Yeah, but I mean, of the race here tonight, we saw an incredible group of guys doing what they do best, and from what we've seen all season long, these guys just put on another top quality race that we've seen from these guys, and I cannot wait until October 3rd for when we see these guys at Five Flags.
Yeah, these people have done some very good racing. A lot of mistakes did happen, but that adds to the excitement. A lot of championship battling was happening. So definitely would like to see more of these people.
Yeah, absolutely. As we'll go now to the final results here for tonight's race. Ozzy Milwane comes home with his 2nd victory of the season. Spencer Todd, Brian Halleck rounding out the podium. You've just heard from those 3. Michael Broomhead and Joey Haynes round out what was an absolutely incredible night for Evolve Sim Sports Academy in the top 5. Chris Sherburne, Jacob Mink, Robert Gamble, Robert Deloche, and Maurice Gamillion rounding out the top 10. Chris Branson, Joseph Homan, Nathan Medina, Steve Paulison, Roger Shank, David Gargaro Jr., Andy Spicer, Vince Harley rounding out the drivers that actually finished this race tonight, and Victor Awad and Robert Covey not completing the race here tonight. We saw the issues that Covey had earlier on, and then we saw Awad just pull it off, and that was pretty much the end of his night. So that will do it for us here tonight on ESPN. Coming up on Monday night, tomorrow night, will be the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. It'll be race number 2 of the round of 16 in the playoffs for the Rowdy Energy Cup Series. They will be at Richmond at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night. Coming up on Tuesday, the Tuesday doubleheaders return. The MX5 Pro Series begins season number 3 at Okayama at 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time. The nightcap will be the Western States Racing League, round number 10 of 20 for them, coming up after the week off, 10:05 p.m. Eastern Time, the start time for Western States. On Wednesday night will be the Sim Racers Edge Alpha Series. They will be running round 7 at Texas after an expected week off and an unexpected week off. That will be at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the beginning of Season 3 for the Endurance for Amateur Series will follow 10 minutes after the start for Sim Racers Edge. They will be at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park at 8:25 p.m. Eastern Time for the start of their season. So for my broadcast partner, Dennis Diaz, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. We will see you on October 3rd for the Snowball Derby at Five Flags Speedway for the Majors Series, and we will also see you tomorrow night for the Rowdy Energy Cup Series from Richmond. Good night, everybody.